Whether it's the latest blockbuster movie or something you'd find in ancient scripture, we've got this strange obsession with the end of the world. But this fascination, it's not new. In fact, it taps into one of the oldest and most powerful story traditions we've ever created, a tradition that says the end is actually the beginning.
So what's the deal with that? Are we all just a little bit morbid? Or is there something else going on? Do these epic tales of destruction actually serve a deeper, more constructive purpose? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into the surprisingly hopeful logic behind our love for the apocalypse. It turns out this need for stories about chaos and destruction, and yes, renewal, it's a fundamental part of being human. And to really get it, we have to go way, way back. The key to unlocking this whole end-of-the-world thing actually starts small. It begins not with the end of a world, but with the end of a single life, the life of a god. It's one of mythology's most powerful and persistent ideas. Okay, so what exactly is a dying god? This isn't just any god who happens to die. This is a divine being whose death and, crucially, whose comeback is essential for the world to keep going. Their story isn't meant to be a tragedy. It's a promise that endings are never really the end. And once you start looking for this pattern, you see it everywhere. In Egypt, you've got Osiris, whose body is scattered across the land and then reassembled by his wife, Isis, so he can become king of the underworld. Over in Greece, Dionysus is literally ripped to shreds by titans, only to be brought back to life. And in the Norse world, the death of the beautiful, beloved god Balder is the trigger that kicks off the world's eventual rebirth. So notice the process here. It's not just life and then death. The critical piece of the puzzle is that death, which is often violent and total, is a necessary stage. That journey into the underworld isn't the final chapter. It's the mechanism that makes renewal possible. The god has to die to reboot the system. Okay, so if a single god's death can renew their world, what happens when the entire cosmos needs a fresh start? This is where we scale up, from the micro to the macro, from the dying god to the myths we call apocalypses. And this right here, this is the single most important idea to get. We hear the word apocalypse, and we think of pure, final, game-over destruction. But in most of the world's mythology, that's not the point at all. The end is just cosmic spring cleaning. And you see this exact pattern all over the place. Take the Norse myth of Ragnarok. The world gets absolutely wrecked by fire and water, only for a new, green earth to rise up from the sea. In Zoroastrianism, the end is literally called a final renovation that purifies everything. Or in Hinduism, the universe goes through these huge kalpa cycles where it's destroyed and then reborn again and again. The theme is unmistakable. Total destruction is the necessary first step for a better world. So we've got dying gods and dying worlds, all leading to this grand renewal. What's the secret sauce that connects them? Well, it all comes down to a really fundamental idea about the nature of time itself. Most of us today, we kind of think of time as a straight line, right? A linear path, with a beginning, a middle, and then a final permanent end. The past is gone for good. But these ancient myths, they work on a completely different operating system, cyclical time. For them, time is a wheel. The seasons turn, life and death follow each other, and endings are just the part of the circle that loops right back to a new beginning. So why invent this cyclical view? As the historian John Hall puts it so well, these stories have a powerful psychological job to do. They're like cultural safety valves. I mean, think about it. When a society is facing instability or injustice or just the scary reality of death, these stories give you a place to put all that fear. They give your anxiety a plot. And most importantly, they give that plot a hopeful ending. Okay, so let's bring it all home. We've gone from the death of one god all the way to the destruction of the entire cosmos. What is the ultimate lesson these incredible stories are trying to teach us? The crucial point is that these are not stories of despair. They are stories of radical hope. They argue that for true transformation to happen, for a perfected world to be born, the old world has to completely and totally pass away first. Destruction isn't the tragedy here. It's the engine of creation. And that leaves us with a final question. Because these myths aren't just about gods and the cosmos, they're also about the patterns in our own lives. They remind us that even our most difficult endings might just be clearing the ground for something new to grow. Makes you think, doesn't it?